I am Master Gunnery Sergeant Mike Ressler. I am currently the historian of the Marine Band. I've been a member of the Marine Band for 38 years, and I've participated in a number of inaugurals. The presidential inaugural is really, obviously it's an exciting day for our country, but it's an extremely exciting day for members of the President's Own. We really do showcase our primary responsibility, our primary mission of providing music for the President of the United States. We showcase that in probably the grandest scale on Inaugural Day. The Marine Band's inaugural history is as old as Washington, D.C.'s inaugural history. Now, there have been 57 inaugural ceremonies in the United States. The first three were not in Washington. The first one for George Washington was in New York City. His second was in Philadelphia, and then John Adams' inaugural was also in Philadelphia. So it wasn't until March 4th, 1801 that there was an inaugural ceremony held in Washington, D.C., and that, of course, was for President Thomas Jefferson. We believe that we were involved in that very first inaugural ceremony and have been involved in every one since then. Thomas Jefferson went on to be very interested in the Marine Band, very interested in music. He was a fine musician himself, and took a real interest in the Marine Band, and he's credited with giving us our title of the President's Own. So I'm really quite confident that we were busy providing music at that very, very first inaugural in Washington, D.C. Through the years following Harrison's inaugural, newspaper accounts mentioned the Marine Band being involved in some way during the inaugural day, perhaps at the ceremony, at the parade, or both, and at the balls. But in 1861, we had a new type of record which included us or showed us our involvement at the inaugural. This was President Abraham Lincoln's first inaugural, and we had a photograph. A beautiful photograph showing the inaugural ceremony on the east front of the Capitol building. And we had studied the photograph for a year or so, and we just couldn't find the band. We looked where we thought the band would be based on where it has been historically, and we just couldn't quite find the band, so we weren't sure if we were just out of sight of the camera or covered by the crowd. You couldn't see us. Until we discovered a newspaper article. I think it was the New York Times, and the article described the scene. It described the scene in front of the Capitol, and it said that President Lincoln stood at the podium at the center of the platform, and then to his immediate left was the diplomatic corps in their fancy uniforms of colors and decorations and awards. And then the article said, and just beyond them sat the United States Marine Band. So after we read the account in the newspaper, we immediately went and got out our photograph and a magnifying glass, and we started to study the photo. And sure enough, we were able to spot the Marine Band on the left side of the platform. And you could make out the uniforms, you could make out the over-the-shoulder instruments that were being used by the band during that period of time. So that was very exciting. So our first photographic evidence of the band being involved in the inaugural ceremony dates back to March 4th, 1861. So between the earliest inaugurals and using newspaper accounts to piece together the information that we do, also other assets that we have, resources that we have within the Marine Band, the director's logs that date back to 1916, and the library logs that date back to 1919, a massive collection of programs which include inaugural programs, and we have our own collection of historic newspaper articles. That plus other things that are available to us from the National Archives, the Library of Congress, and other major archives. It really gives us plenty to create an accurate understanding of what actually happened at each inaugural. For many, many years, way back in our historical record, you find special pieces of music that were being composed specifically for a president and for his inaugural ceremony. These predate the mid-19th century, but one of the ones that stands out in my mind is a piece that was written by the Marine Band director Francis Scala for President Abraham Lincoln. He wrote a piece called The Union March, and it was also published with a different title. It was called President Lincoln's Inaugural March. It's a piece that the Marine Band played in 1861, and I presume again in 1865 for Lincoln's second inaugural. The music survived. Scala's entire music library it resides at the Library of Congress, not far from where we are. And so we were able to get this music and edit it and kind of rearrange it for the modern band of today. And so we are able to recreate and use that march. All in all, I think the inaugural is probably the busiest single day in the life of a Marine Band member. It's an important day, a long day, but I think it's exciting for everyone to be involved in such an important part of our national culture. When you consider the peaceful transfer of power from one person to another within a democracy, it's an awesome ceremony that's taking place, and it's a real privilege and an honor to be involved in some way in that ceremony.